Welcome back to Super Tuesday Recap. This is your host here, Chris, and we're doing something different this season because I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I got Deepom syndrome, where it's like, hey, you know what? I'm getting everybody else to come in and do shows and reviews, and I'm not gonna take anything extra new, and that did not work out. I'm somehow reviewing Star Trek Discovery. And joining me are two voices you've heard before on the network. I have another part of the Super Tuesday recap team. We're just talking to her about Supergirl. We have the Doctor on, and then a voice you probably haven't heard in a while. Rich, when was the last time they heard you? It was like 12 Monkeys last year?
Yeah, 12 Monkeys earlier during the summer when they
That's right.
dropped everything on Sci-Fi.
Oh my God, that was this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yo, in Trump's America, everything just feels like 4 years.
Feels distorted.
Oh my God, I can't believe that was earlier this year. I'm completely out of it, guys. I'm trying to. I just got home. I'm trying to also pack for New York Comic Con. Got a lot of stuff going on here, but yeah. So we're doing something new this year. If you're listening to this, that means two things. One, you subscribe to the Super Tuesday recap feed, which I'm very grateful for. You listen to us on YouTube, which I'm hoping that also means you're subscribed to us on YouTube, or you went to the site and you're streaming it from the site, which I'm saying I'm grateful for that, but please head over to YouTube, subscribe to us on YouTube, MTR Network, or if you want to hear us on the phone, easier, go and subscribe to Super Tuesday Recap feed. These episodes will not be on the main MTR feed. You can only get them if you're subscribed to the Super Tuesday Recap feed. So please subscribe there. We have this, because I'm an idiot, there'll probably also be reviews for The Gifted and maybe a few other things too, because just I don't know what it is. I can't help myself. And I'm just deciding to take on a bunch of stuff that I probably will end up killing me. So, but right now we are here to, Star Trek is finally back on TV. Sorta, kinda. We'll get into that later. But ladies, what did you guys think of what do you guys think of Star Trek Discovery? I guess I'm sorry. First of all, we're reviewing these in chunks, so we're doing the first 3 episodes of Star Trek Discovery. So so far, what do you guys think of it?
I love it, but I'm nervous, and how do I say this? I am reserved. Like the first okay. If you're familiar with Brian Fuller's work, I was so excited to see his name because the man just shoots beautiful work. Every frame is like a photograph, and it was so beautiful. But then I feel like they pulled the okie doke on us because they marketed it, this Malaysian woman and this black woman, and then they killed the Malaysian sister and decommissioned the black woman and make her a criminal and then put her under a white captain. I'm like, what fresh hell is this? What did we do wrong?
See, here's the thing. So you know where you messed up? You should have known something was up when they introduced Michelle Yeoh? When they introduced her as a guest starring. Oh, I know what that. I knew what that means. I was like, oh, yeah, because when they said that Sonequa was not the captain of the show, but was going to be the lead character, but there was a captain of the show, and I was like, oh, Michelle ain't making it. She ain't. I'm actually surprised she made it through the first episode.
I should have known when they start impaling folks. I'm like, oh, this ain't your mama's Star Trek. Okay, then.
Wait. I mean, we'll get into it, but the third episode, there were literally disassembled bodies laying on the ground. I'm like, what Star? I've never seen this on Star Trek before. That's real. Those are body parts.
It looked like they had wrung the bodies like wet towels.
Yeah,
it's very, that third episode is very horror, and when you look at who directed it, you can understand how it had that horror feeling to it. It was like a very, what was that, Event Horizon?
Yes,
kind of a feel.
Yes,
that movie.
That and the way the bodies look like. If you're watching Rick and Morty, it look like one of those alternate reality Rick and Morty that were all disassembled. Yeah, it was kind of creepy.
But I really liked the first 2 episodes. I felt the first 2 episodes were very Star Trek. They had some very deep philosophical questions being brought up. And then they had this third episode that seemed very kind of disconnected and jarring. And while I liked the episode by itself, I don't know what direction they're going with this show, and it gives me pause.
So I think I figured
Beyond
that
the fact that they killed Michelle Yeoh.
So I think I figured that out. So I think this is what they're doing with this, and this is why I actually kind of like it. So the first two episodes to me are kind of like a movie. Like if you treat them like a prequel movie, and it's meant to draw in people who say they love the J.J. Abrams 2 films because it doesn't feel like Star Trek. The third film actually feels like Star Trek because what it is it's not really going in. It has something to do with the main plot, which is the war going on with the Klingons and stuff like that. But it's very disconnected from that, and it feels more like a traditional Star Trek episode where they're going after a science experiment, and it's kind of building your characters and things like that. And I feel like that's what the rest of the season's going to be. Like they're going to definitely have the overarching theme of dealing with the war, but I really feel like we're going to get these small episodes that are not like, I wouldn't say they're filler episodes, but I feel like they're going to be exploration episodes on the side that are more traditionally Star Trek.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like the third episode was definitely like almost like a bottled episode of Star Trek because they only had like maybe 3 set pieces really. They're mostly on that other ship and then the main ship pretty much. And it is like that, but it was very jarring to me because while you had the war in the background and you can see that the war has an effect on the crew, the way everyone was kind of armed, the battle screen and the Captain Lorca's ready room where you can see the battle lines, it seemed like, well, why aren't we talking about what just happened? I mean, I know they did a time jump and everything, but it seemed like they weren't carrying everything on, and I don't know why they paused the overall story for a moment. I'm not quite sure if they were trying to establish characters or what's going on here.
They got 12 more episodes to go.
Well, yeah, and how much of the war is the war going to be the entire series, or is it going to be the first season? So
I think the war it might go longer than the first season if they get more than one season, because we'll get into that later on about like what exactly CBS is going to do with this show. But I think it will go longer than that because I don't think the war again. And this is where it's going to be interesting to see if they can keep the people going. I think a lot of people want. Like I said, I had no problem with the J.J. Abrams Star Wars film, Star Trek films, right? Because it's like they were action heavy, and they still were Star Trek, but it's 2 hours. You don't have time to do a Star Trek story. You're gonna do the stuff that everybody wants to see, which is the explosions. I really think that the episodes themselves, though, are gonna deal with like what the mission of the Discovery is, which I didn't do any reading on this show. So I had no idea that the actual ship was going to be called Discovery, which when I saw that I was like, oh, you fucking idiot. You should have known that.
But did you see I looked it up.
Every other season, with the exception of the very first season, the name of the show is the name of the ship.
Right. So it's like, why didn't my dumb ass think that? I don't know. They caught me up. They got me. I don't know why.
Did you see the call sign? The call sign of Discovery is 1031, and I thought it was because that's the call sign for distress for cops. But I guess it turns out that Brian Fuller is a big Halloween the Day fan, and that's why he put it that way. But yeah,
that's funny.
It still colors it because it Discovery, the whole show kind of has like a kind of a sci-fi horror feel to it.
But I think that's what they're going to go with.
The way the Klingons are looking.
Yeah. I think that's what they're going with. I think the ship, this Discovery, is going to be like, to me, and I just watched I watched it yesterday, but I rewatched the end of the episode. Because the end of the episode is what really tells me where the show's going to go. Because I think the entire we're kind of skipping ahead of the first one, but going to the third episode, that entire time you're thinking like Burnham, like Michael's thinking. You're like, oh, they're developing weapons. Like this war effort. They're going with weapons. And then when Captain Lorca kind of goes, no, we are doing stuff for the war effort, but we're looking at a new way of propulsion. We're trying to be, this is a science vessel. We're explorers. We're trying to do that. And we're trying to keep with that mission. Yeah, we're going to be doing things for the war effort, but the focus of what we're doing here is basically the Starfleet mission. And I think that at the end of that episode kind of made me go, okay, you're going to get bits and pieces of the war effort, and they'll definitely coincide in there, but you're gonna get more exploration and more sciencey Star Trek things throughout the rest of this. I mean, we'll know next week, but I think that's where they're going for, and I think they're going to ease more into it, and I think that's the way you got to do it. I think that's the only way you're going to get people to get on board with Star Trek, right? Because I think did either one of you guys watch Enterprise?
I watched.
Yeah, I watched Enterprise.
I've seen every Star Trek series from the original to Enterprise. Yes.
So I never watched Enterprise. Like, how was Enterprise?
It was okay.
Okay. So you go ahead. No, Hiroshi, you go first.
Well, the first season, it takes a season for a Star Trek series to get its legs. It's pretty much this Next Generation. It always takes a season. So the first season was all right. The second and third, I thought they were going places, but it seemed like the studio or UPN or whatever was interfering quite a bit. The fourth season was awesome. The fourth season seemed like really Star Trek, but they were going somewhere with it. They were trying to lay the groundwork for how the Federation was developed, how these different cultures that you were encountering, like the Andorians and the Vulcans who were at war with another, are going to form this big megalithic organization, how that gets about. And they also had like a little bit of like the Romulan intrigue in there, which is one of the other recurring, ultra villains of Star Trek, but they never able to complete the series. So there was a lot of questions left unanswered. Overall, I saw the things they were trying to do, but there were a lot of problems with it. And I think it had a lot to do with the writers. I think that they kept some of the old writers around that just didn't have new stories to tell. They didn't bring any really good, new, intriguing writers on it. And also, this was a show that came on right after 9/11. So it had the cloud of that and was also doing kind of some war stuff going on and trying to do the allegory for that. And it just didn't really fit with the culture at the time. And so I think it suffered a little bit from that. But I thought it was okay. It's not the best. It's probably my bottom list of Star Trek shows. And, just right above the cartoon.
So I liked Enterprise better than I liked Voyager. We had that conversation on Twitter. I do agree with Hiroshi, though. I feel like UPN crippled the show. They overly interfered and they couldn't finish telling they had seeded some really good stories, but then they got canceled because of all that interference. So they weren't able to wrap up those stories in a really strong way. And then their finale wound up being like a womp womp. Because basically it was a clearly aged Riker and a clearly aged Troy, like reflecting on pretending like they were on the next gen. They were on the Enterprise currently during their run, reflecting on the maneuvers of the the travels of the original Enterprise. So it just, I feel like it had the potential to be a great show. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the interactions. I enjoyed the stories, but UPN really kind of crippled it.
Yeah. So I think that's what CBS is looking at. They're trying to find a way to, I mean, obviously Trek has a strong fan base, but they're trying to expand that fan base, but also not I feel like it's the kind of same thing that Disney's trying to do with Star Wars, where you're trying to find a way to keep or bring in new people, but also not alienate the old fans. And so like they're trying to find this mix of keeping that, because look, I watch a lot of Star Trek. There's a lot of Star Trek episodes that don't have action in them, right? They're very sci-fi, very sciencey. They're not always war. And that the first two episodes of this one, the pilot, that's why I feel like it almost feels like one of those for comic book movies they'll have like a companion comic book that kind of tells you what. That's what the first two episodes of this Star Trek Discovery felt like. Like, this is how the setup is. This is how, when we actually start the series, which is episode 3, this is how Burnham got to where she's at, where she's, a mutineer. She doesn't have a rank. She's no longer in Starfleet. This is how she got here. And that's what those first two episodes were. And I feel like, and again, I'm trying not to go into the biggest problem I have with CBS right now is putting it on a streaming. I feel like they really should have ran the first two episodes on CBS back to back. Like, just made it a full 2 episodes.
I was going to say, here's the thing. I thought that was the original plan, which is why it was so weird that they didn't, because that was the original plan, was to air the pilot, which part 2 is part of the pilot.
Right.
And then put it on streaming. The funny thing about that too is I know that the original series aired on CBS. So it's not like CBS is not the true home for the Star Trek Enterprise. However, and I'm supposed to say something snarky. Rest in peace, Tom Petty. But I need CBS to stop worrying about this streaming stuff and get their news division right, since they announcing people's death before they died. Just put the show on public access, let everybody see it without paying $6 for commercials, and call it a day.
Okay, fine. I guess we'll do it now. Like, it's a travesty that this show is on. I get it, because they're clearly putting money into this show. I would hate to see what the per episode cost is on this show, because
it's like $8 million for the pilot.
Even the episode 3, like that, even that looked like ridiculously, like that's way better than anything else I'm seeing on TV.
But that's Brian Fuller.
Right.
And I was told, I think Karoja, you told me that he's only doing the first 3. But the way
I believe he definitely wrote, if you look at the first 2, the pilot, he definitely wrote the pilot, because he's a two-hander guy. It was definitely, Michelle Yeoh, and I can never say her name properly. The Michael Burnham character. It was definitely their show. Like, it was definitely centered around them, and then you had the auxiliary characters kind of build out from there, because that's his style, that's his tone. And then you killed Michelle Yeoh, which is supposed to be, I guess, their Game of Thrones shocker that they're trying to do with Star Trek.
But was it though? I don't know. I guess I'm the only one that wasn't shocked that she was dying. She was going to die.
Well, the way they marketed it, it seemed like she was going to be on the show for a while, and then Brian Fuller left, and they did a lot of rewrites. So I have no idea how long Michelle Yeoh was originally supposed to be there, and I'm hoping she's coming back in flashbacks.
Well, and I thought maybe it was a thing where she was a special guest star, but I think, you know how like Patrick Stewart special guest star on the premiere of DS9, and then you see her sometimes later. I thought it was one of those things where, okay, she's a special guest star, so maybe Burnham gets transferred to a different ship, or they get split up in this war. I didn't know they were going to kill her.
I didn't think they would kill her, and I also thought maybe they're going to do a Martin Sheen, how like The West Wing started out. Like, Martin Sheen wasn't supposed to be the main character, but they kept him on because he's, Martin Sheen.
Right.
So I thought that's what they were doing, is they had this big star that's supposed to be like the captain. You don't really see them, and for whatever reason, we're centering around this commander. I didn't think they were going to kill her off until the big-ass Klingon ship showed up, and I was like, oh.
Oh, when they said 24 ships, I'm like, oh, y'all dead.
Yeah.
You can hang it up. Everybody dying.
Yeah, I figured. I just figured that she wasn't going to be around. Especially when they said the guest starring, I was like, oh, I know it. I know how this is going to end.
So you're saying this is a blame Chris moment? Got it.
I mean, I'll take that one, but I was just like, yeah, I was just because at one point I was like, well, maybe she's not going to. Oh no, she's definitely going to die.
The minute she said she was going to that ship,
the minute she said she was going to that ship, and the minute she went into hand-to-hand combat with a Klingon, I was like, oh, you dead. You're not making, because the Klingon look. So what do you guys think of the Klingon look?
I love it.
I like it. I want the costume and everything, but the thing is, sometimes when you over makeup people, you can't get their full emotions, and I don't know if they quite developed it to where you can get the actors' facial expressions better. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's because it's just the premiere and they haven't quite refined it yet, because the previous incarnations of the look of the Klingons, you can kind of sense the actors' emotions through the makeup, and I'm not quite sure with this version of the Klingons if we're going to get that. Don't get me wrong, they're very scary looking, they're very intimidating, and they look very alien. They don't look like humans with some ears
with a ridge. Humans with a ridge with a bone ridge in their forehead.
I'm going to argue. Actually, I like the fact that you can't see it, because it actually makes them more intimidating.
Yeah,
you think that's what they're going for?
Right. I don't know, but I like it because with facial cues, you can kind of anticipate. This is a warrior race. Yeah. So you anticipate, but you never know when they're going to launch. So I kind of like it.
I like the fact
which is kind of how like the shush Klingons, like, oh God, you guys are going to die.
At least they weren't Ricardo Montalban and a bunch of goofy looking white folks.
I always love that moment when the Enterprise, Next Generation, when they go back and fucking Worf sees them, is like, that was a time in we don't talk about that time. we don't talk about. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about our evolution. But no, I'm with you. I love the fact that you can't. I love the fact that you look at them and I immediately turn into a Trump voter. I'm like, oh no, you can't negotiate with that motherfucker. No. Like it's a visceral reaction when I see the Klan. I'm like, oh no, obviously that's a thug. Yeah. And then
it went full mag.
I went full. I was like, you know what? That makes it great. That makes it great because it would then make sense as to why that would be such a hard negotiation for Starfleet, right? Because it's already a warrior society, and then just to look at it, like I get the idea that we're in the future now and we're all trying to come together and we come in peace. Fuck that. Biases still exist. You see a Klingon, you're shitting your pants. Like
So that's like the philosophy, I guess the tone of the first 2 episodes was like presence and existence, because the main Klingon guy, he was like, the existence of the Federation's against the Klingons, and I'm going to draw their presence to us, and so I'm going to demonstrate to the other houses how they're so bad and start this war. And it brings it kind of is a bit of an allegory was going on right now where some people are against certain people's existence, and the mere presence of them being close to them is okay for violent actions. And I thought that was a very intriguing and bold question for typical of Star Trek, but very bold question to be asking on television.
Yeah. Well,
agreed.
Even it would be even bolder if they actually kept it on TV. But I'm gonna stop doing that. I'm gonna stop doing that.
Look, I'm mad. We may come back around to it, but if I'm paying $5.99, why I got the same number of commercials as if it was free?
Oh my God, I know.
Look, this is why CBS.
You notice that it was the same.
No, but the app doesn't work.
It's more. Oh, it doesn't.
No, okay. I can't see, for whatever reason, I don't know if Star Trek Discovery is on a completely different server than all the other CBS episode shows, because I do have a CBS episode watcher in the household, and I've been trying to avoid buying this package here. But I can't watch Star Trek Discovery on my Xbox 360. And when I tried to rewatch today, I couldn't watch the first 2 episodes.
You know
again. I only watched the first and the third. I couldn't see the second one again.
Okay, so that might not be a CBS app issue. That might be an Xbox issue, because I've noticed that I couldn't, when I had my 360 in the main room, I couldn't download like the Sci-Fi app, the CBS app was wonky, the CW app was wonky, but on the Xbox One it was okay. So I'm thinking Xbox isn't providing like app updates or support.
That might be
for the 360.
No, it's actually because the rest of the app works. It's particularly that it says like the CBS Access server doesn't work, and it's only those episodes that don't work on the app. I can watch whatever else is on CBS. There's shows on there I didn't know they're still on television, like NCIS or whatever, and it will work fine. I can watch live television and it will work fine. But those Star Trek episodes don't work through the 360. And then when I was watching on my iPhone today just to rewatch the episodes, I was able to watch episode 1 and episode 3, but I wasn't able to watch episode 2. And there's been a lot of people that have been having connection issues when it comes to watching just this show, which is probably one of the reasons why, besides not paying, that people are it's the most pirated. Beyond Game of Thrones pirated show.
Yeah, of course. Because I mean, why? I mean, I'm being nice, but then I'm sharing my account with everybody else too. Because it's like
allegedly, he's allegedly.
Well, no. Whoa. You're allowed. You're allowed to, I believe, 2 streams, 2 separate streams. Just like Actually, I don't have HBO. HBO Go.
Allegedly, he doesn't have HBO Go.
No, again, there's another one. They allow. I think HBO Go.
Save your life, sir.
HBO Go allows like 5 simultaneous streams or something like that. So, well, that's another thing too. So, even app wise, other streaming services allow like 5 different streams because they know you're going to share your account. CBS like, no, you're going to pay you. We're going to charge you more. You're going to pay $5.99. Give you the same number of ads as a regular TV show. The app won't work. And oh, by the way, you can only allow 2 simultaneous streams at the same time. Like, it is beyond, and then beyond all that, let's say Star Trek Discovery is a hit. They get signed up for it. I'm just going to cancel right when it's done. What do you have coming next?
A lot of people are going to do.
What comes next? What comes after Star Trek Discovery? Like, I love this show. I'm going to hear what comes next. Like, why would I keep it on for 12? Why would I keep a 12-month subscription?
There is no reason to keep a 12-month subscription. I've been trying to tell this to my CBS watcher. But they're old and they're in that demographic and they love those shows, those cop shows or whatever.
Well, honestly, a lot of those cop shows are available
on Netflix.
On Netflix.
And on Amazon Prime.
And Amazon Prime and on the website. Yes, I've had this conversation.
But again, but that market has always been small for them. Like they even said that when Star Trek Discovery is what got them. I believe their plan to 2020 is 8 million subscribers, and they wanted 4 million by the end of this year. And I'm like, if you hit that, it's because of Star Trek Discovery, but you're not keeping those people. We're not staying. I mean, and here's the thing: other people, what they might do is you might get an initial boost. It might not drop as much when Star Trek Discovery ends. Can you get another group of people that come in and buys it just to watch and binge for that weekend? Then they're gonna cancel again. Like it's the dumbest. It is the dumbest, and it's a shame because the show looks really great. I'm really enjoying it, but like, what is your plan after this? And it really should be available for everybody to watch.
Plus, they have it on Netflix Global, and granted, I don't do this Netflix, but you can use a VPN and watch the global feed and not pay for another service.
Right. It's just
I don't do that.
No, we do not do that kind of stuff. But if you did, though, you can find online to how to do that. So I don't know. It's just kind of crazy. Going back into these episodes, though. Let's see here. So, and again, I'm building up to get to Michael Burnham and our main character because we got a lot to say about her. But here's another one. This is a small nitpick for me, and I wanted to know. I have two former, not former, Trek. I'm gonna call you guys Trekkies. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna call you guys Trekkies. Good.
I have no problem with that.
I'm just saying, some people.
I have no problem. I've been to the conventions.
Okay, all right.
Dressed up. Yeah, I got a collection.
What do you all think? Because and this is one of my smaller nitpicks. I think it's one of the reasons why I never watched Enterprise. What do you think of them continually doing prequels instead of doing shows that carry on from where they last?
I heard you talk about this on the Nerd Off, and I agree. They need to stop because when you consider that the technology and I won't use Enterprise. I'm okay with I can't remember. It's been a minute, but I feel like Enterprise tried to mimic like their equipment was pre the original series.
Right.
But with this one, it's clear that we're in the touchscreen age. And I'm like, this is too high tech.
In the last episode, they did a site-to-site transport in the same ship. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
and help me with the timeline because I was like, oh, Sarek raised Michael. And then it hit me like, that means that Michael grew up with Spock. So this is before Spock is this while Spock is out and about? Or
no, this is before this is before the original series.
Spock is supposed to probably be either the Vulcan Academy because he is at Starfleet Academy right now.
Yeah.
So
basically, Vulcan doing that.
When we had a movie where Scotty was trying to do site-to-site transfer on a moving vessel, which had never been, when he said had never been done. But what?
I'm just saying, like, again, I got to get this out because, again, it's not hindering my watch of the show, but I'm watching some of the things going, I love it, it's beautiful, but there's no way that this, like, when she got into that Mass Effect Andromeda suit, and I was like, this is amazing, I love the way it looks, but get the fuck out of here. Like, this does not fit. And again, I get it, and I like the idea of telling, because we never really had anybody telling the story of how, how the Klingon and Starfleet War started. So I get that appeal, but I feel like it's so limited because we know what comes next. Whereas, I mean, let's say, forget Voyager. Hey, we had Voyager and Deep Space Nine kind of technically happen at the same time anyway. Why can't you do something? If you do a show after that, the sky's the limit. And not only that, you can then bring in the last living captains that are still around right now and have them as cameos and things. Like, there's so many things you can do, whereas now you're so limited. And maybe you're trying to reboot the entire series, I guess, and you can go that way, but it's just, it just feels weird. I mean, I'm watching them do things on this ship and going, you guys shouldn't be able to do that.
Well, and maybe that's the question. Maybe that's what it is. Because technically the movies are a reboot of the entire universe. So maybe they're saying that Discovery isn't a part of the Next Generation, Voyager, DS9, Enterprise line. It's a part of this new Star Trek line.
But even then, this ship is way more advanced than the Enterprise that we saw in the movies.
I'm trying to help.
I know. I'm just saying. Again, this is me nitpicking. This is me. You know what this is? This is not even me complaining. This is not me complaining. This is me laughing at this. It's just it's one of those like when the captain when the captain did a site to site transport inside the Discovery. I was like, are you fucking serious right now? Like, are we really doing this? Then somehow in the pilot when she had gotten stuck on the beacon. And and they were having trouble locking onto her. Somehow they still were able to lock onto her and bring her back on and beam her back onto the ship. And she had all the radio. Like, it was just like, this is way more advanced than any other Star Trek we have ever seen, ever. And I
just took it as like, okay, look, all that other stuff was made back when they were just conceptualizing everything. We're just going to say, fuck it, and be like, we got touchscreens, we got all this. This is like what the future really looks like, and we'll just pretend all that other stuff.
And I'm fine with the looks. I'm fine with the looks, though. It's not really the look. It's the technology. Like, for instance, in the movie, again, using the transporter is difficult, right? Like, remember when they went down in the first movie when they went down to the platform and Scotty was trying to beam two different people. He was excited because he beamed two different people from two different points at the same time. He didn't meld them together, and he had to do the little
onto a moving ship.
Right, and he was using the little joysticks to do it and things like that. Like they made the prequel the Star Trek 2009 and even Into Darkness. They mimicked as much as they can. Granted they updated the look. But they pretty much mimicked the technology from the original series so that they weren't able to do things that you couldn't do back then. Here, it's like you're clearly way more advanced. Like I was seeing some people say that the Klingons shouldn't have cloaking technology, but I'm okay with that. Like that's a small thing to me. Like I'm okay with that. It's the things that are happening on this ship that just make me go, wait a minute, you guys don't. Did somebody come from the future? Did Spock tell you guys, the old Spock from the future tell you this? Because you guys shouldn't be able to do this. So that was one of the things that was kind of getting me as I was watching this stuff. It's like I still remember in what was it, First Contact? Remember in First Contact when they had the Borg and they had to put their spacesuits on to walk on the outside of the Enterprise. And I'm watching this and watching her put this suit on and then literally fly across to the beacon and going, wait a minute, this, and then the Klingon had one too, and then had his bat lift out. I was just, it was way too much for me. So I was like, you guys are going a little bit too far from here. So let's go into Michael Burnham. What do you think of that character?
I'm curious. I want to know, and I'm sure we'll get it this season. I need to know. I got to know what happened. I got to know what happened. How did she wind up in Sarek's care?
I actually need to know if she's actually really human.
I think she is.
No, she is. She was. You saw her being rescued.
I think
her being rescued, and she's referred to as human. But I'm just wondering if there's going to be like some weird okey doke. Not saying that she's Vulcan or anything, but.
There's something else.
There has to be a reason that Sarek took her in. And it hasn't been just because she was an orphan. I mean, it just seems a little off or a little weird.
Yeah, like, what happened to her parents? Like, what were her parents doing on Vulcan in the first? Because was it Vulcan that was attacked?
It was some outpost.
Yeah, it was an outpost.
Yeah, and why? Yeah, we got to be getting that because one thing I do like what they're doing with her is you do get these kind of flashbacks to her past, and you're seeing them, and you're seeing how that works. So yeah, I definitely want to see how they're doing that. I thought you were actually going to ask like what happened to make her just like give the fuck up and say she's like her hair between the two episodes. It's like before Trump and then after Trump when you don't give a shit no more. Like I fucking loved it. Like she got the Marshawn Lynch I'm just here so I don't get fined face. Like it was just fucking great. Like she grew. You know what it is? It reminded me of Cisco's I don't give a fuck no more phase where he started growing the facial hair, then he shaved his head. She did it in 3 episodes. Like we're already to no fucks Burnham. And I'm loving it.
I love.
She has a bit more attitude too.
Because I mean, Sonequa in real life is natural, so I'm just like, oh, please don't make her not. Let her natural hair be great. Let it be free.
And they definitely did. You know what it is? So there's a couple of things she reminds me of. Like they're really pulling, I feel like, characterizations from like the original series. So on the one hand, you have her. You can describe her as. Kirk was smart because Kirk was not smart. He just flew by the seat of his pants, but it was never really, it was his gut feeling, not really like logic thought out. She definitely uses logic, but there's also the emotion there. And I feel like, especially in the first episodes with her being the first officer, that she, it was kind of like a reverse of a Spock, where Spock uses, sometimes he gives into his emotion, but most time he's always giving the logical answer. She's almost seems flipped. She gives a lot of her emotional answers, but they're based on the logic from her Vulcan training. Yeah. Again, I like that. I like that idea. It gives you something different than what we've seen, because they usually go with that Vulcan crew member thing. Like you had obviously you had Spock in Voyager. You had Tuvok. In Next Generation, I guess you could say you had Worf for a little bit there. He was kind of that character who didn't want to give into his emotions and things like that. Deep Space Nine, you had him and Odo. They always have that. In this one, they kind of flipped it in that you have a very, very emotional first officer, but she's also based in some logic. And so it's not like she's not Kirk where she is dangerous, and I'll get into that later. But it's based in, like, you can follow the logic. You can follow why it makes sense versus, I'm doing it because of my gut feeling. Like, one of my biggest... I
mean, Saru said it best. You know, you're one of the best first officers I've seen, but you're very dangerous.
Yes. Like, so, her decision, when she... How did you guys feel when she kind of committed her little mutiny there?
You know that meme that says, "Oh no, baby, what is you doing?" That was me.
Because here's the thing, obviously,
we have to take a step back when she had the conversation with Ghost Hologram Sarek, and he was trying to counsel her, and he knew what the result was going to be. I don't know why he told her the answer, but he told her the answer like what the Vulcan Hello was, and then she did her actions, and props to Michelle Yeoh with her acting, like. I couldn't believe she shook off that Vulcan pinch like it was nothing.
Well, she's not Vulcan, so she might not have done it right.
Yeah, that's what I was.
You don't think she did it right?
I don't think she
watched
did
it 3 times, and I was like,
she didn't have the Vulcan-ness in her.
Well, and don't forget, she was panicked. She was trying to get it done. So I just assumed she didn't commit fully to get it done the right way, and that's why.
You know the funny thing.
I thought it was because the captain. She was supposed to be like a soldier, a warrior. Like she had the Medal of Honor, and she spoke of being a soldier and how there's a difference between a soldier and a scientist, and it's not an easy thing.
That's not going to stop a properly applied Vulcan pinch. Spock is a scientist, and he can still knock your ass out.
Right. You know what it is? It was so funny because again, I try to avoid at this point. I try to avoid watching live tweets as shows go on. I feel like people miss so much. It was so funny at the time it was going on. People were like, listen to Black Woman. I was like, well, yes, but in this case, she wasn't right. Like everybody was saying she was right. I was like, actually, she wasn't because what Sarek said was, he's like, listen, he basically said, your mileage may vary. He's like, it worked for us. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. Which basically means is y'all ships ain't about that life. So don't do that. And the other thing, too, is, and I like it because from her point of view, I definitely see why she would think that. Like, for the information she had. But as an audience, we had more information. We knew that this is actually what the Klingons want. they want a war, they're gonna fire no matter what. Like this is not gonna. There's not gonna be some. Oh well, they're firing at us, so we're just gonna go home now. No, they want a war. So y'all all gonna die anyway. The only choice you have is to hightail it out of there. And if you're not doing that, then you're gonna have some fucking problems. So, but no, I thought it was. But I did think it was different, and it reminded me of stuff that you've seen before. And even down to her being convicted and being stripped of her rank. If you think about it, it's technically the same thing that they did with Kirk in the movie, right? Where he technically shouldn't have been on that ship. he had been stripped down. He was supposed to be going somewhere. A war broke out, and he got put onto the Enterprise, and because Jim felt sorry for him, and somehow he ended up in there. Burnham, they seem to be taking her because it's not a movie, it's a TV show. They can stretch that out a little bit, but I'm seeing that they're gonna have her kind of come back in there and deal with it. And I even like the idea of what the captain said to her in episode 3 was like, listen, you got charged with mutiny, but you were predictive. Like you did the right. In the end of the day, what you did was probably the right choice. You just didn't. You couldn't be hampered by Starfleet rules, which technically explains and describes every starship captain we've seen in a Star Trek show. Right? Like every single one of these captains breaks the Starfleet rules. Some of them less than other ones, but they all do it. All of them break the rules.
They got those captain bars.
Well, they got the captain. Well, and
he didn't have a captain bars.
Well, technically, neither did Cisco. But he technically didn't have captain bars at that moment. But no, you're right. But I think it even goes to the idea of that they probably wouldn't even gotten their captain bars if they had done that, right? If they had just followed the rules and done everything by the books, they never would have done that. Because, I mean, honestly, if you're going to be a successful Starfleet captain, it's not going to happen that way. You're going to have to bend the rules. You're going to have to break the rules. Hell, if you think about it, it's kind of how she got to where she was as commander. It's just that she went a little bit too far. Got a little too big for her britches. But in the end, it was still her belief she did the right thing to save her crew. She thought if I don't do this, we're all gonna die. So I like the idea of digging into what actually makes a Starfleet officer and what actually makes a Starfleet captain. And I think we should get more of that. And I honestly see it eventually ending up with us pulling a Cisco and her becoming a captain, like going all the way.
I also see that too, but.
Not in the first season. Not in the first season. Don't get me wrong. Not in the first season. But I think that's going to happen.
Woman, it won't be till the last episode of the last season.
Have faith. Have faith.
I do think the flip side of that, of breaking the rules, is kind of where Captain Lorca, is that how you say his name, is? Because he's meddling with the physics of the universe with this propulsion thing. And maybe he's going too far with breaking the rules. And I think maybe that's where Michael might be there to stop him.
I don't. So that was my next question. Does anybody trust Captain Lorca? I don't.
No. He is Draco Malfoy's daddy. So no kidding.
He's mad scientist, is what he is.
He's got a lab full of dead animals.
I kind of do. I actually kind of do.
You trust him?
As far as I can throw him, yes.
Did you see the tribble? The big.
Yeah, he does have a tribble.
Tribble?
He has a tribble in his office.
Okay, so I feel like maybe I missed the mark with that.
With the tribble?
Yes. Did they capture it or did he unleash it?
No,
he have a partner of it. What's going on?
No,
with that
he literally has a lab. He has a lab full of exotic animals. That's why he brings that creature into his lab at the end of the episode, because there's another creature on the lab table when they're just like dissected. He has a tribble, because I could hear the tribble. I couldn't see it at first. I kept hearing. I was like, where the fuck is I hear the tribble. Where the fuck is that shit? Then I see it. I'm like, God damn it, he has a fucking pet tribble just sitting there on his desk. Yeah, he's a weirdo. Like that little lab he has at the end, he has all these different things in it, and I'm like, well, he's a serial killer.
Yeah, he has like a full skeleton of. Is that a person? Was that a volunteer? How did that happen?
It looked like you know what it looked like.
Uh-huh.
You guys are gonna hate me. It looked like the hybrid alien thing from Alien 4.
Oh.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you're right.
It did though, didn't it? It did. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird because, like I said, at the beginning of the episode, I didn't trust him. Then at the end, when he's talking to Burnham and he's kind of convincing her to stay, and I'm like, oh well, maybe I had him all wrong. I was like her, had him all pegged wrong. And then the end of the episode is him ominously in his little, murder room with his little animals with the new crazy cat pet thing that tore across the other crew. Just like, I don't know, man. He gives me weird vibes. Like when they blew up the other ship and he was like, don't worry about it, just another ship. I'm like, yeah, another ship that had a bunch of people on it. Like, I know they're dead, but like, dude, like, his only concern was it was the ship. I'm like, but bruh, you lost a whole bunch of other people on there.
But honestly, okay, so what, they're not going back home, and it's not like the cargo hold is endless, and you have these bodies that have been wrung, but like towels. What are you going to do with them?
Well, no. Hey, look, I'm not saying.
The blessing is to just destroy them. It's kind of an in-space cremation, scatter the ashes in one fell swoop.
Right, but you would think that you would say something like that, right? His whole thing, go ahead.
They didn't say anything when the pilot sort of.
That was my other thing too. So again, I'm picking. Yeah. I'm really hoping that I'm onto something here because I picked up that he never seems to care, because there are actually 3 times. There are 3 times when Captain Lorca does not give a fuck about human life. One, when he talks when the pilot in that ship that Burnham was on dies. And later on, when he's talking to her, he was like, yeah, she was like, yeah, our ship was, that's what happened to our ship. It was like, oh yeah, nothing happened. It was just like, I'm like, oh no, the pilot literally died. What are you talking about? Then there was, what is the name of the other engineer? The other engineer there, was it, Stamets? Was that Anthony Rapp? So that's, Stamets or whatever. So when when he was upset at the captain because I'm going to say it's his life partner. I feel like they were a little close. I think they were more than just friends. I may be putting too much into that. I might be wrong. I think they were a little bit more than friends. But when his friend died on the other ship, Lorca was really kind of like, oh, well, I mean, he'll get over it. He's kind of upset right now because his friend, I'm like, yeah, his friend died. Of course he's upset.
His best friend died.
Right. He didn't care about that. And then when he blew up the other ship, he was just like, "Oh no!" And I think his first officer was trying. It's not the first officer. The head of security was like, "Yeah, it's kind of sad that we got to go." It was like, "Ah, well, it's just a ship. It's just a nice ship, but it's just a ship." And I'm like, there was an entire crew of people that died here. So I'm getting the feeling that Captain Lorca, while he is definitely on the right track as far as being into exploration. I think we're going to see that he doesn't really give a fuck about human life.
Well, here's the question. He had mentioned when we first meet him that he has to there was some kind of injury where he can't be exposed to light very quickly or else he'll lose his eyes. I'm wondering if whatever happened with that, like, damaged his brain. I'm wondering if there's something more going on with him that we'll find out about later.
I think so.
Because he could be one of those scientists where they're so cerebral, they don't understand that that human element, they're not doing it because they don't understand it, so they disregard it. He might be too far on that spectrum where he doesn't really, is not intentional or anything. He's not emotional. He doesn't have that mechanism in him.
He's a
which
sociopath.
Makes him a great cerebral scientist person, but also very dangerous because they go very extreme with their experiments because they disregard for pain and life and the consequences, really.
But I think that's why, to me, I think that they're gonna really expand on that because then it ties into Saru, right? Yeah. Because Saru is now his first officer, and his whole thing is, I'm gonna, like, he hit Burnham with some hard truth. It's like, I'm gonna protect my captain better than you did.
better than you protected yours.
It kind of burned me a little bit, but he was right. I was like, you didn't have to do that. That was kind of a dig deep. But like, what does Saru do when he later finds out? And then again, think about it. If Lorca really is somebody who doesn't really feel for human life, think about it. Burnham's where she's at now because she does. Everything she did, she committed mutiny because she was trying to save lives. She was trying to save her captain. She was trying to save her crew. Like she literally did all that and sacrificed her entire career, knowing, like I said, when she's even at this point, Lorca has to convince her to join this crew because she's like, "Yo, I'm a Starfleet officer. I'm not here. You're building illegal weapons. I don't want any part of that. I'm going to serve my sentence. That's what I deserve to do because I failed to save my captain." She's all about saving lives. If Lorca isn't, though, and then now you build this dynamic between Burnham finding out that Lorca doesn't really give a fuck about any kind of human life. She's going to have to then convince Saru that, hey, listen, the guy you're trying to protect, you're worried about me. You should be worried about him. What do you do when your captain doesn't care? So I'm sorry, go ahead.
The Saru guy, I guess they've been told like he can sense death. So I'm wondering, he already said that Lorca's
danger.
Yeah, he can sense danger. So he already said that Lorca doesn't fear things that other people do. So he knows he has that aspect in him, but how does Burnham convince him that that's also dangerous as well?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the interesting thing. First of all, I just love the fact that Saru is Doug Jones, and he also played Abe Sapien in the Hellboy films. Like, I knew he looked familiar, and then I realized I was like, "Oh, you're Abe. Okay, that makes sense."
How tall is Doug Jones?
He's 6'3", so they've digitally enhanced his height because Sonequa Green is not
small.
She's not tiny.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, he looked like he was 7 feet. I was like, is he really that tall?
Is it me or did he seem taller in the third episode than in the first two, or maybe we just never saw them together?
No, he was taller in the third episode.
Okay, because I'm like, you're a fucking giant, dude. What were you? Were you eating your Wheaties the last 6 months? Like, what the fuck were you doing?
Can I ask a quick question, though, based on Saru's comment? Because I feel like he blames Michael for the death of Philippa, but I don't know that even if Michael hadn't pulled what she pulled, that it wouldn't have ended the same way.
Well, here's the thing we got to understand about Saru. Like, I think he has some good points here, but he's also a big scaredy cat. Remember, his people are prey.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, he's a big scaredy cat. I also love the idea of there's a great scene at the end where he's watching the shuttle go off, but the literal hairs on the back of his head stand up because he thinks. I think you could tell that Burnham wasn't on that ship. But it's gonna be it's gonna be interesting seeing him. His entire focus is gonna be on Burnham, and Lorca's gonna be literally like he brought that creature tore apart so many people on that ship, and the captain brought it onto his own.
Like, I thought it was the Klingons it tore, and the ship was already destroyed. That's how they boarded. So they like destroyed the Klingon boarding party, which is like, where's the Klingon ship at though?
Yeah, there's that.
That was like the unanswered questions. Yeah. Like, did the way they're showing the transportation, did they transport to some Klingon place, get boarded, then transport? It didn't really make sense, really.
Yeah, I don't know where that ship came from or what happened with that. Like, it's a little kind of, you know what it is? They probably were starting to run out of money. Which I can't blame them for. Can we talk about Cadet 53%?
Listen.
She's so adorable.
She's annoying as fuck. I don't like her.
When she said, I'm gonna call, oh, your name, I never met a woman named Michael. I'm gonna call you Mickey. and I was like, it was like, I feel like she wrote that line. Like, that was all her. Because that was basically can I touch your hair? Like, I had to pause the episode when that shit happened.
I hate her. They're going to have to dial her back because this is not going to work for another 12 episodes. Let me tell you. I was actually hoping that thing would eat her this episode. I was kind of disappointed.
Oh my God. When she did that, Then she did the two passive aggressive thing. Well, because I'm just trying to say that you're in my bunk, and she was just like, why didn't you just say I'm sleeping in your bunk? I would have moved. There was the name thing, and then there was the we have assigned terminals.
Fine, look.
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. All they need to do is put her in like one of those pink hats from the Women's March. Oh, she's so good.
With a damn safety pin on her lapel.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Turn her. So she's a cadet, so she shouldn't get a real Starfleet badge. She should get a safety pin.
You ain't shit.
You are so mean.
I can't stand her.
Oh god, she was the worst. She was the worst, but it was so good. I'm gonna call you Mickey, or was it Mitch or something like that? I'm gonna call you Mickey. She's like, no.
The hell you say?
No, you will not. Oh man.
God, I hate her.
Oh,
I need her to suffer one of them painful Joss Whedon deaths.
That is not right.
Oh, you know what they're gonna do? You know what's gonna happen, right? You're gonna finally start liking her, then they're gonna kill her. And you're going to be like, You know what? It's okay, though. She deserves it.
I don't know that there's any universe where I like this girl.
No, she is the worst. The worst. Yeah. So, let's see here. I'm looking through my notes to see if there's anything else you got in here. Anybody? You guys have anything else you guys want to say? Because like I said, I'm liking. Again, it's going to be interesting seeing what episode 4 looks like. Because I think there was
the albino Klingon.
Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't get into all that stuff. Yeah. I forgot.
We got to talk about the Klingons,
yes,
buddy.
We got to talk about them. I completely forgot about them. That racism. Internal. So good.
Or as our white brethren like to call it, the reverse racism. Let me start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the only time reverse racism is like, if you're not talking Klingons on Star Trek Discovery, reverse racism, it's not real reverse racism. like that.
So can we talk about Takuma trying to be the Malcolm X of his people? I'm just saying.
He really was, yeah.
I was kind of shocked when he died. I'm like, but okay. But y'all killing everybody. Did you not think? I mean, it's on the streaming app. Is CBS gonna cut you before you get your episode?
Well, you know what?
Everybody.
Well, you know what it is on that one. I think it goes down to what Burnham said before. It's like they need to, and again, where she fucked up. It's like they needed to capture him because you kill him, it becomes worse. You then make him a martyr, and so I think
the funny thing is she was. Oh no, she wasn't trying to kill him in that first volley. You're right.
She was. Yeah, she wasn't. But then I think. Here's the thing I love about it. Again, going into the idea of Burnham, she was raised on Vulcan, right? But and again, I love the flashback where they showed you how she originally showed up there. I think that was in episode 2, and she was very, almost like Spock-like. She was very, didn't give into her emotion. She, was very, proper and didn't show anything. And you see that basically what happened was she had that first year at college, that freshman year, and Michael Burnham goes wild, and she let it all hang out. But you see when she goes and kills, what was it, Vakuzma? Like when she kills him, she's doing it because he just killed her. She just killed not only just her captain but her friend.
Right.
And so it wasn't
her friend, yeah.
Right, and it was an emotional response, and you can see it immediately when it happened that you can see that oh my goodness, I fucked up. I reacted emotionally. I just killed him. And I just prolonged the war. I couldn't stay with the plan. And so, yeah, that's, I definitely think that that's going to be, something we see her deal with as well. Her trying to control her emotions, but she's human. It's like you see sometimes with other characters, like, hey, you're half human, you're half Vulcan. You're trying to suppress one side of yourself. You don't have to do that. You need to give, you need to be able to give into that. So, I thought that was, I wasn't expecting him to die either, but yeah. So does the white Klingon take over that?
I feel like the way that everybody else was trying to shun him, and then the way that Takuma pulled him in, I feel like, and the fact that what he did worked. It actually worked. It accomplished the goal it was set to accomplish. I feel like he kind of de facto passed the baton to him. The question is, will the rest of the Klingons, not necessarily on his ship, because on his ship they were all ride or die, but those other 23 families, will they continue, or will there be is that where the internal warring begins?
Well, see, that's where he got it. Yeah.
Well, I was confused. Was Takuva's house one of the great houses? Because I thought that was the issue.
That was the issue. He had no house. So he took in basically all the orphans and the runaways and the dregs of Klingon society that really had no connection or no influence.
Okay. So Takuma, that's what I didn't understand. Was his house like once a great house and fell, or...
No, he said he has no house. He came from no house.
No, I think he has a house, but it wasn't one of the great houses.
Has a house,
but the white one doesn't. But then he put his hand in the fire, and I'm like, well, I follow that guy. Like that, So white people, if you want to invite to the cookout, that's what you got to do. You got to put your hand in the fire. And then we'll bring you a plate then, because you're not gonna be able to get your own plate because your hand's gonna be burned. But that's how you got, like, once you do that shit, all right, cool. No, you now one of us, because I ain't fucking with that. Like, that's more like, that was the thing he did. He just put his hand in the fire. I'm just like, bro, you cooking right now, yo? You smelling pork? You smelling bacon? You just gonna leave your hand there? We're just gonna leave your hand there. Huh? We're gonna do that here. Okay.
That's what we're doing today.
We're gonna do that shit, right? And just like, I don't believe that much. Like, that's the thing. Like, and that was a funny thing, because the other Klingons were like, well, no, why does he get the, well, I'll do it. Why does he? Well, he has no house. He was like, but I have more faith than you. Oh no, he definitely does. Okay, no, carry on, sir. You definitely have more faith than all of us, because I ain't doing that shit.
Buddy. That's all you.
Yeah, I ain't doing that shit. So. But I was kind of shocked that they, like, I am going to be interested in seeing how they handle that, and what they do with the cloaking technology. If because they never really explained how Klingons or Vulcans, Romulans got cloaking technology, did they?
No.
Well, they did, like, in the books and the extra stuff, but not on the show.
Yeah, not in the show.
Because in the extra, like, canon stuff that was canon, but I don't know if it's canon any longer. Like, the Romulans had cloaking technology first, and the Klingons stole it from them when they were warfaring against one another. But it seems like they're changing everything, because this cloaking, they couldn't detect it. That ship was huge, and it apparently had no warp signature too.
Look,
so how was it flying around?
When it tore up the Europa, oh my god! Yes. I wasn't ready.
But that kind of goes back to. But that kind of goes back to what That kind of goes back to
Europa wasn't ready either.
Yeah, nobody was ready for that shit. Well, that kind of goes back to what Lorca was saying about Burnham being predictive. He was like, think about it. That could have been them. When the admiral shows up, was like, no, listen, I'm the guy in charge here. We're gonna handle this. And he was like, oh, finally, you want to challenge me? All right, cool. Let me show you what we can fucking do. I needed to figure out who the person in charge was. He basically was like, I want to speak to a manager. I need to speak to a manager. The manager shows up and he slaps the shit out of the manager.
Apple Care told me.
Right. So if Burnham then had actually fired, that might have been them. So yeah, they were. Starfleet was going to take some losses that day. They were going to take some L's. And
Starfleet took all the L's that day. I'm like, the minute them ships showed up, y'all should have left. It's time to go home.
I just want
to talk later. Y'all can. This is all y'all. We'll talk later.
The one thing that I was missing from that, and maybe they did it, and I need to watch it again. I was waiting for somebody to say, "Today's a good day to die." Like, that's the one. Because like, if that was
no one said it,
huh?
No one said it.
if that wasn't the perfect time, because that's really what that shit was. It's like, oh no, we're gonna die today. And the question is it gonna be more of us dying today, or is it gonna be more of y'all dying today? So we doing this today. So what's up? And yeah, nah, I'm not. That shit was.
So that's like another question I had, like, because they left it hanging, and I guess maybe they'll show it throughout the series. Is like how many of those houses fell, because it was like I guess he did the whole big call a meeting, Batman signal to the Klingon Empire, and one of those houses showed.
Right, but one of the houses left.
Okay, so like how many left, and are they all in the war? And how many houses, like head households, like died that day? Because those Klingon ships also got pretty fucked up too by the Federation ships.
I assume that all the main house ships lived, and that they were just like their smaller warships that got messed up. Because you got to think about it. Even with the I can't remember what the name of his ship was. The main ship. It took them literally mining a body with a photon torpedo to take the and just to kind of technically disable it, because it didn't even like totally destroy it. So I assume, again, we'll probably find out more, and maybe some of them did die, but I assume most of the houses stayed around. And the fact that one of the houses broke off, I think you're going to start seeing more of the infighting there, and that's going to be interesting as well. So
all I'm saying is, the minute you scanned that ship and discovered that its armor were a bunch of coffins, it's time to go home.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. That's
not people you can talk to.
That was already too much for me. That was already too late. Because the minute it decloaks in front of me, and we ain't never seen some shit like that before, we out. We out.
The ship was massive.
We out.
That's like the biggest ship I think they've ever had besides the Borg.
Yeah, we out.
On Star Trek.
Right, yeah.
We out. Like, I'm not, like, it just, wait. It can do that? Like, imagine if you're driving driving home from work, and all of a sudden, a car appears in front of you, it decloaks in front of you. Oh, I'm done. Not just any car, a police car.
Oh shit!
Oh nigga, I'm done. Oh we done. No more driving. I'm moving out of the country. It's over. There's no more. There's nothing else to do here. No. And then by the way, then that cop car is literally covered in coffins.
Right.
No, thank you. No, thank you. I want no part of that. And they're over here. We'll call for reinforcement. The hell we will. This is. I
go home. I want to go home.
I'm
leaving.
This is their space now. Like, you remember it was like the picture from out of Hurricane Harvey, where they were showing you like the fire ants they had joined together and had this big pile of fire.
Yes.
That's what the Klingon ship shows up, and I go, oh well, this is our. Oh no, you know what? We were mistaken. We thought this was our territory. It's yours. It's all yours.
Zip code wrong. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Holy.
Hey, look. Google Maps didn't update. I got an update from Apple. I haven't updated my Google Maps. My bad. We in the wrong spot. You go ahead and chill here. Don't even mind us. We're going to go ahead and warp out of here, yo. It's good. We straight. Yeah, no, I'm not fucking with that shit.
We're going to leave everything the way we found it.
Right.
Gotta go.
Right.
We'll take our little satellite with us.
Mm-hmm. No, matter of fact, no. You guys keep the satellite. That's
it's a housewarming gift.
Yo, yeah. From us to you, it's good. Don't even worry about it. We got it. We got plenty more back where we came from. It's good, man. Like, matter of fact, we're gonna give you an extra like 20 light years of space of cushion too. So you ain't even gotta worry about that shit no more. It's all right. Like, I ain't fucking with that shit. You fucking out of your mind.
I also one little thing I thought was a little different, and I kind of liked it, and it worked for the plot of the show, was that Captain Lorca was like, this is Federation territory, we don't retreat. And I thought that was a very interesting stance that they had. And I don't know if it was just because it was the Klingons, or if that's like a new policy or whatever, because that
it's an old one, because this is a prequel.
Well, no, it might be. It might be that it's an older policy. You got to think about it. and this might be one of the things that does lend to it being a prequel. This is still early Starfleet with them trying to figure out what their mission is and figuring out how to deal with, these other species, other worlds, I can definitely see how early Starfleet would be kind of American. This is our territory. We ain't leaving nowhere. Well, technically, it probably isn't because you probably came to space before you guys, so it probably isn't your territory. So who the fuck are you? So, and again, remember this is, and I think they didn't want to retreat because they were trying to open a dialogue. Again, naive, and thinking they could talk this through, and thinking that I don't know. I think that we're seeing them make. We have to see. We have to let them kind of grow into their bad mistakes, because I think that that's one of the things that other shows kind of glossed over is early Starfleet made a lot of mistakes.
Oh, yes.
And I think we're going to see that here. I think we're going to see a lot of the missteps that the organization of Starfleet makes. First being giving a sociopath a brand new ship. I'm 100% on board. After this episode, I'm 100% on board with Captain Lorca being a fucking sociopath. He has bodies. He has bodies, and yeah, he does. I'm sorry.
Maybe constantly DMing somebody who doesn't want to acknowledge your existence is not a good idea either.
Yeah.
You just kept talking.
Yeah. I'm not feeling him. Not feeling him at all.
Yeah.
So, anything else?
No, I think we covered everything.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing how this goes. Is this a 13 episode season?
15.
15? I think that's a good number. I think 15 is good for them. Yeah, and like I said, I want them to move it to CBS. I get it because I think that they need to justify the price tag for it, and so. But I think as beautiful as the show looks, as great as the technology looks, they could lower that cost and it would still be a good show. Like I love the way it looks, but there are a lot of other things going on in the show that make it like it's just good. I like the direction they're going with it, and I don't know. I think this deserves to be on CBS. Yeah.
It also had like 10 million on just regular TV in a age where people are not watching live television. That's not something to snuff at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, who knows what the DVR was on that as well.
Right. Yeah. It aired late. It aired like 20 minutes late on the East Coast.
It did. Oh.
Yeah. It was like 20, 30 minutes late because I think one of the football games they ran over, and then they aired, I think, either 60 minutes or something else was on that ran over, and so it was supposed to start at like 8:35. It didn't start until like 8:55. And then remember, Fear the Walking Dead comes on at 9, so people were watching Fear the Walking Dead. It still did really good ratings, despite all of that. So it's not like the show wasn't, and it got rave reviews. Like I have not seen one person watch it go, I don't like it. So
yeah, Rotten Tomatoes has it at 86%, but the user rating is like weird, and I think maybe it's because of trolls, where it's at 56%.
Oh,
it has like 2,000 user reviews, and that's a pretty high for a television show review for
trolls.
That's the one thing I forgot. Yeah. Now watching those first 2 episodes, I see why all the white folks was mad. They were all dying first.
It's Andromeda. It's Mass Effect Andromeda again.
It really is.
That was trolls because there was I think there was a Reddit campaign and there was people complaining about the SJWs taking over. I'm like, if you know anything about like the next to comic books, the next dumbest thing you can complain about with SJWs and forcing diversity is Star Trek. That is literally the most. It is. The reason why I'm a Trek fan, the reason why I love Star Trek, is because it was one of the few times I could go on the TV and watch something that was sci-fi based, and I could see somebody that looked like me in some kind of major role in the show, and that was women, men, like of color, like all of it was all there. So the idea that somehow now Star Trek Discovery is going too far and they're forcing diversity because they have 2 women and all. Where have you been?
Yeah.
Where have you been? You know, like that makes so. I really believe that user rating and anything like that is nothing but troll campaigns that we've seen happen with other things like this, where nothing bait. So take the trolls out of it. I haven't seen anybody really complain about this. So it has a good base. You're getting people that don't like Star Trek watching the show, going, "Oh, I think I want to. I'm gonna pay the $5.99." So it's like you're getting people to actually pay for this. Imagine what the numbers would be if you just left it on TV, and then built off of it.
It's the only CBS show that I know that's actually trending on Twitter and other social media sites. Nobody's talking about The Big Bang Theory or
Young Sheldon or whatever the hell.
Or
apparently, it was like
NCIS, whichever designation it is.
Apparently, Young Sheldon is actually getting good ratings, and I don't understand. Like, I actually think that some of the stuff is just carryover. The same people that watched it before just keep watching the stuff, and it's just there. Because I don't know anybody who watches that stuff.
No, well, I do, but yes, no.
You know what other show was trending for CBS?
Which other show?
Person of Interest, the other show they messed up.
Oh yes, the other show they did mess up.
So I'm just hoping that this isn't a pattern.
Again,
well, they did mess up Supergirl.
And thank God that they don't have it anymore.
They didn't want her to fly.
They didn't want her to fly. The fuck?
They didn't want Supergirl to fly.
I mean, it's Smallville. I'm finally finishing up Smallville. It's been hard to get through season 10 because I'm like, let Tom Welling fly. Let that beautiful man fly. I'm like, why won't we let the man fly?
Isn't he supposed to be on The Flash?
No, he is on Lucifer this season.
Yeah, that's what it was, Lucifer.
Oh, Lucifer. Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought he was going to go on The Flash or something. I thought...
He said he was open to going on The Flash, but he's a lieutenant. He's a new lieutenant on Lucifer.
As what? We already got a Superman in the Arrowverse.
You hush your mouth. Tom can do whatever the hell he wants.
Tom can do whatever he wants. He can direct a few episodes too.
Well, you know what he can't do? He can't be Superman.
Hush.
I'm just saying they already have a Superman. I'm just stating the obvious here. You know, he can be old ass Superboy. You know, Superboy from the future. I don't know. You know, I don't know. Anyway, all right. Any last comments on this one?
No, this was good. I'm looking forward to see what they do next.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Hiroja, the app will work for you.
Yeah.
I've been able to see it. I see it on my computer. It was like Star Trek ever since I was a child, ever since I was like 7 years old. Saw the Next Generation season premiere, kind of dating myself here. Mm-hmm. And was able to stay past Jeopardy. Like, it came on at 8:00, which was a big deal for a 7-year-old me, and watched the show, the season premiere. And I've seen every season premiere of every single Star Trek, watched all the series, and do not watch it and sit down with a family and watch it on the TV. We were able to watch the first episode, which was on live TV, and then we got through like 20 minutes into the second one, and then it stopped working.
Oh, good Lord.
So it was very frustrating. So we had to go to our tablets, which is like, it's a shame because this is like, you know, we do family shows or family movies, but this was like really something we were all looking forward to watching.
And then you add to that how beautiful it was. That needed to be seen on bigger than a tablet screen. Bigger than a tablet screen, or bigger than my computer screen right now.
Yeah. So you know what the other weird thing to me that they're doing, and again, all right, last thing, and we'll get out of here. Like, what really bothered, because it's not even really the show. It's about CBS's decision here. It bothers me that we have a show where you bring Star Trek back, but also the lead is a black woman, and you're putting so much on this show and this black woman to build up and hold together your streaming service, and you're giving her no safety net. So not only can you not get it on Netflix, which okay, I understand that. You know what really got me is you can't buy the season on Amazon
or iTunes, because I checked there too.
Right. So it's not like you couldn't get, like, if I buy it through Amazon, you're still getting paid. I'm buying your show. So what they've done is they've removed all of the other avenues from it. So the only way you can get it is through this CBS All Access service, even if I'm trying to pay you for it. Like if I paid for it through Amazon, you're getting paid for it. I've done it before. I did it with I didn't have to do this. I get the channel for free. I did it for the last season of Dark Matter. I was like, yo, I need to be able to get these. I can't wait for them, and I need to get the rest of the season. I don't have access to my DVR. I'll buy the season. I bought the season, and when the episode aired, it showed up on my tablet. I could download it. I could watch it from my tablet. I could take it wherever I needed to go to. With CBS All Access, I have to be connected to the internet. I can only watch it there. This is the dumbest thing ever. I want to watch the show. I want to. I'll give you money. I'll even pay you for this show.
I'm wondering how because the streaming service has been out for at least
it's like a year and a half.
2 years.
2 years.
I was going to ask you because I did the test run to finish to find some old Person of Interest episodes and discovered that they didn't have them, but that's a whole other discussion. So I'm wondering how well it's doing that they're doing this. You know what I mean? So
I don't think it is.
Are they operating at a loss is what I'm wondering.
Oh, they definitely are. I'm going to tell you why.
They are.
You know what other doesn't make any sense to me? So you're bringing Star Trek Discovery onto your CBS All Access service, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I still get all the other Star Treks on Netflix?
Because they're not owned by CBS.
So now, right? So now, there's another reason why the only thing you have is Discovery. You don't even have the other Star Treks.
No, that's not true. On the CBS Access, you can watch the other Star Treks because Viacom owns Paramount.
Oh, so
and Viacom owns CBS.
So,
but I guess they're doing CBS Access as a solely CBS TV show, but not a / Paramount, whatever.
But the question is, why would anybody watch Star Trek on the CBS app with all them damn commercials when they can watch it on Netflix with 0 commercials?
Exactly, which is what it is globally.
It's the dumbest. This model is dumb, and I'm if anything, my biggest worry and hesitation with Star Trek Discovery is that CBS is going to screw up CBS All Access.
Oh, they will. Oh, they absolutely will.
And that's going to affect the show continuing. It won't be whether the show is doing well. It won't be whether the show is popular. It'll be because CBS put all their chips in one bag for All Access, and they weren't up to the task. Because they've done. They're not even promoting that. Like when you look at Netflix keep putting out new original content I go into Netflix and I'm like, wait, when did they put this out? What is this? There's so much original content out there now. I don't care about the other stuff they're losing or the new stuff, the new old stuff they're bringing on. I don't care. There's all this original content stuff. CBS, after Star Trek, what is there?
I think they have one other show, but I have no idea what it is.
The Good Fight? The spinoff of The Good Wife, I think, is the other CBS All Access only show.
Yeah, but that's been on for a minute, and people are watching, but I don't know that
it's not moving numbers like Star Trek is.
No,
they have nothing else that's moving numbers because when they did that Star Trek, it was like it's their biggest leap in subscribers ever was Star Trek Discovery.
That's
the show was called The Good Fight.
I think
Star Trek Discovery, it has a younger audience, like below 40, 45. There's, the access to streaming services is easy for them to do. Like The Good Fight and all those other shows they have on there they're going gray and they're not getting younger viewers.
And I was gonna say the other issue with The Good Fight is I'm looking at it. It's on iTunes.
Is it?
Yes, I'm looking at it right now.
Maybe I had it wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about the show it is. But it's some other show somebody told me that they had on there that was CBS All Access only, and I was like, yeah, that's not those shows are nice, but that's not a big tentpole like Discovery is.
Well, here's the thing. The Good Wife, I remember, if I'm remembering correctly, I think The Good Wife was initially Good Fight was initially supposed to be CBS All Access, and then I don't know if they changed it or what.
They weren't getting subscribers.
They weren't. They weren't. Why would someone who's in that demographic download the app? They can watch it on TV. And if they can't see it on their TV, they're not going to download the app because they're going to just go to Netflix because that's what their kids set up for them.
It really feels like CBS is thinking that CBS All Access is marketed towards cord cutters, but they don't realize that trend is gone. Like there is no, if you're going to be a cord cutter, you're cutting cord, but you're going to have to pay for a bunch of other services anyway that add up to how much it costs to cut a cord.
There's the fact that
it depends on what you watch, but yes.
But the other thing is this:
people.
cord cutters aren't cutting the cord because they don't want to pay for CBS. They can get rabbit ears and get CBS.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or watch their shows because they're owned by other companies on Netflix, Amazon Prime, and
there you go. Hulu. Yep.
If they really want to watch that show. But I don't see anything, like I said, Star Trek is the first time I've seen a CBS show trending on social media, except for one time like 4 years ago, which was The Good Wife, because I'm into cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. That was it. Yeah. I've never seen a CBS show trend on Twitter, on any of the other social media platforms, Facebook, or people talking about anything on CBS besides Supergirl the first season, and they lost that to CW.
Yeah, it's just weird. Last thing, I just saw your post on Facebook. Yes, the Batman game is out. I haven't mentioned it because I'm just waiting until all the episodes come out because I can't do the month to month anymore.
I hadn't even seen it advertised.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them. They announced it, I believe, at San Diego Comic-Con. So they put out, and they've been putting out episodes once a month. I just at this point, I've gotten to the point where I'm tired of waiting episode month to month. So I'm just waiting until the whole thing comes out, and I'll buy the entire thing and play it then. So,
okay.
But now when they bring back The Wolf Among Us, that might be a month to month game.
Or if they put Clementine back at the front and center of The Walking Dead,
which I believe they are the next one.
Good, they should have did it this last
they should.
one.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, there you guys have it. Thank you guys very much for this. Is Star Trek episodes 1 through 3, Star Trek Discovery, the episodes 1 through 3. We will be back for 4 through 6 in a few weeks. So just keep subscribing to Super Tuesday Recap. I know next week all of our shows come back. And there are going to be a ton of, shit ton of reviews. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also not looking forward to it because it's going to be a very busy time. So, again, just subscribe to Super Tuesday Recap. Let us know what you guys think. Leave a 5-star review, or you can email us at mtrailerreviews@mtrnetwork.net, and we'll read them next time we do a review. So, ladies, thank you very much for joining me tonight, and I'm going to go. I'm trying to finish eating my dinner and try to get my life together. So, thank you guys very much. Talk to you guys later. Peace.
Peace.